Today, we're going to talk about something that's hard to talk about, but worth talking about, worth praying about. Welcome to Faith Filter. I'm Erica with Pastor Jesse Bradley from Grace Community Church in Auburn, Washington. Pastor Jesse, thank you so much for bringing this to my attention. There's a very special emphasis this month. What are we remembering together?
This is Human Trafficking Awareness Month.
Wow.
And human trafficking, Erica, it's massive. And for a lot of people, it's not even on their radar.
Yeah.
And it's literally happening in every community. So
Wow.
I want to go big picture for a second and just think through this together. I mean, when you think about human trafficking, 50 million people in modern slavery, and that includes both sex trafficking and also inhumane labor conditions.
Wow.
12 million are kids. And one reason it's so prevalent is because it's lucrative. And $173 billion. In terms of illegal activities, that's the second highest. And there's a lot of deception, manipulation, there's forcing. One thing we can be aware of is that online enticement has increased over 300%.
Ooh.
We know what's happening here. And all of us can play a role in terms of awareness, reporting, being part of the solution. Obviously, if you see something happening that's dangerous and illegal, you can call the police, you can reach out to local authorities. But there's also a line, and the good news is more people are reporting what they're seeing, but 1-800-THE-LOST, 1-800-THE-LOST. If you see some different signs that seem suspicious, like, especially with kids, if it looks like they have some cash and you're not sure where that came from, or maybe they're staying in a car or hotels, it could be that there's signs of abuse, or they have extra phones, or lots of phone numbers, or anything that seems a little off. If you see it, say it and report it. So
Wow.
I know we're just starting in on the topic, but I really want it to be a wake-up call. And, for our church, we've been highlighting it this month, sharing different stories of survivors. We had a gathering. We partner with Compassion Washington, and there are people who are very devoted to ending human trafficking. And I think we can all consider our role.
Yes, I agree with you completely. And that's some really good practical advice. Pastor Jesse, sometimes topics like this, it's easy to just push them off the front burner of our minds and our hearts because it's almost too hard to imagine somebody going through that, especially a child. So what do you do with that as a believer? Like, how can you take that to the Lord instead of just leaving it on that back burner, kind of like the one on my stove that I never use?
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up, and the way you introduced that, too, because it's so massive and so horrible. Sometimes we don't know what to do with it. So some people set it out of their minds or denial, and they don't even want to know what's happening around them in that kind of hidden, sinful, dark place. Yet other people are ready to take action. And we want to shift from not knowing what to do to moving forward, and all of us have a role. Erica, it's a calling, and the need is the call. We're about to celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and all of his message and inspiration, and let freedom ring. And also, Erica, I think about, in the Bible where we see Moses and Aaron saying, "Let my people go." And what happened? They were slaves, and we have slavery today with human trafficking.
Yes.
And the slaves had to go from the hand to the sand to the land. And it was that process of restoration from the hand of Pharaoh in cruel bondage to then breaking free, but still on that journey and in the wilderness, right? Needing God's provision, His protection, and then eventually getting to the promised land. And when someone breaks free, sometimes there's guilt and shame. I'm so grateful for the people, at our church that really walk through the entire process. So it's not just stepping out, and it's also all the shalom that God can bring. Jesus is the Prince of Peace.
Amen.
We need to respond and not be passive. And again, the trap is to be passive, to think there's nothing we can do, to not really know what's going on. And we will be accountable before God. But what did we do in our generation to make a difference in our communities? And this is just one of those great needs. And I think it's one of those where it's all hands on deck and all of us play a part. It could be through prayer, could be through giving to a ministry that tackles this locally or globally. It can also be having your eyes open and starting to report things that you see that are wrong. There's a number of ways to get involved, and everyone, I think, would say, yes, I want to do something. So my encouragement today is you hear these truths, take a next step.
You know, Pastor Jesse, I appreciate you just a little bit extra today. Thank you for talking about a difficult topic with such grace and wisdom.
Thank you, Erica. Appreciate you too.